What does Black History Month mean to you?
So it means a lot to me, Gary, because of the fact that as I was progressing in my career, I didn't see a lot of me.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Gary Blake, and I'm the President and CEO of Creative Solutions in Healthcare. And today we are honored again by Miss Joleann Beene, who is an icon in this industry, a mover in this industry, and someone that not only moved the industry, moved the dial in the industry. So today we welcome Joleann Beene.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We're so thrilled to have you. So let's get this conversation started today.
All right.
So we're going to visit with Miss Joleann, who's had a remarkable career, and somehow, if you can compress a 40-year career into a few minutes, take us on that Joleann Beene journey in healthcare, long-term care.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
The main thing is the know about me is that I started out as a CNA. Then I became a director of nurses after being a charge nurse in a facility. And along the way, I started noticing different positions. I had no idea that there was a tier or anything that was in long-term care until I got my first visit from a regional nurse consultant. And I was so fascinated by what she did that I made up my mind then and there, okay, the next thing after I do become a director of nurses is I'm going to try to become a regional nurse consultant. And it took about 13 years, I believe, before I actually was able to get into that role. And then after I became a regional nurse consultant, of course, I started noticing that there were other positions to go to. So I was blessed enough to have several different roles. I was a divisional nurse, I was a regional nurse, and then I became a director of a company. And I ended my career, 40-something years career, as being a chief nursing officer of a company that had 112 facilities in 12 different states.
Wow, that is, I mean, remarkable. And I was part of your journey.
Yes.
I was an administrator and got to work with you, and I appreciate everything you've done for the industry, and that's the reason we keep going back to the well with you, is because you are so knowledgeable about the journey, your own journey, obviously. So it kind of leads me to my next question. What does Black History Month mean to you?
So it means a lot to me, Gary, because of the fact that as I was progressing in my career, I didn't see a lot of me. Still, not very often that you get a chance to see the rising through the ranks, so to speak, from where I started to becoming a VP of clinical services. But certainly it is more now. I'm so happy to see more Black nurses that are directors of nurses in facilities. And so that is something I feel like is celebratory, just because of the fact that I know what it was like 45 years ago when I would be the only Black person in a room, you know. As a matter of fact, Gary, when we were at IHS, the very first time we had that meeting down in Florida where we were changing over to this new reimbursement, I walked in that room and I was literally out of, 1,000 people or so.
Yeah.
I was the only Black person.
Yeah, it was a mighty white room.
It was a mighty white room.
It was a mighty white room.
So, but anyway, that's why it's important to me, is to be able to say to anyone who is in long-term care and you make a decision that this is your path, career path, that it's possible. You can be wherever, an administrator, director of nurses, a regional nurse consultant, whatever, because I'm a living witness to that.
So, talking about working in the career, what do you tell that potential nurse aide that's sitting in a high school classroom now? How do you tell them to prepare their mind for long-term care?
My first message would be to say that you need to really and truly love what you're doing. And if you're not going to really have a caring heart and compassion for the elderly, then this is not the place for you. But if this is something that, even if you learn to love it, is good. So, and also to not let anything or anyone tell you what you can or you cannot do or achieve. That if you work hard enough and you make up your mind that this is the path, career path that you want to do, it is possible. You just have to know the business of your business. You have to learn the rules, the regulations, but even with all that knowledge, and you have to be willing to step outside the box and get everything else, because you're not going to get everything in a book.
That's right.
It's going to be hands-on.
Yeah.
And so that experience of working with the elderly will serve you well.
Well, thank you for that. I think all of us can spend a little more time being better people, being better people for our communities, and then you will look around in a very short timeline, a very short period of time, and you'll see you've moved the dial, and that's exactly what you've done.
It has been my honor to be able to serve the elderly. It really has. This business has been not just a job for me, it was my sanctuary, and it was my ministry, more than anything else.
Well, I know that's right, and I will tell you, for all those patients you served that never had the chance or the opportunity to say thank you, let me thank you for them. And not one step was misstepped. Every step was in the right direction, and I thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Joleann.